everyone, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I thank you for your love and for your support. If you are new to the channel, you are highly and very welcome. If you have not subscribed, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. Okay guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a keyhole gown. So you can just see the picture up there. That's what we're going to be making. That's what we're going to be learning how to cut and sew today. So these are the fabrics I'm going to be making use of. This is an Ankara African print, and then I've got my lining also. So these are just like the basic two materials I'm going to be making use of. And this Ankara is actually 3 yards of fabric, and I'm making this dress for a size small person. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of my basic bodice for this. So it is a simple dress, so I'll just make use of the basic bodice. In case you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, I'll drop the link on the description box so you can just watch it and then know how to go ahead and do that. So the measurement that I'm going to be making use of, so on this basic bodice, this is my bust line, this is my under bust line, and then this is the half cut line. So the bust measurement that I'm going to be making use of today is 33 inches. And then the waist measurement, I beg your pardon, the under bust measurement is 27, and then the waist is 28. So these are the measurements that we are going to be making use of. So when you divide 33 into 4, we're going to have 8.5, and then you divide 27 into 4, we're going to have 6.75, and then you divide 28 into 4, we're going to have 7 inches. So these are the measurements. So these are what we're going to use. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out my back piece first with my pattern, and then we'll use this pattern to work on the front piece. Okay guys, so I've cut out my back pattern, so I just cut on the lining first. So now the next thing now is for us to work on our front pattern. So the next thing you are going to do now is you are going to extend your dart. So you are going to determine, you know, your chest line. Normally standard measurement chest line is usually 8 inches. So I'm going to come up, depends on how open you want it to be. So for this, I'm going to come up by 1 inch from my chest line, which is 8. Chest line is 8 inches. This is chest line, so I'll come up to 7 inches. You can actually decide to make this to come down, depends on how deep you want it to be. So just make use of what is okay for you. So I'll extend it. I just came up, so I'm not using 8 inches, I'm using 7 inches. So I just came up. So this is just to help like serve as like a guide for me when I'm joining the neckline. So from this point, you are going to determine how your yoke, how many inches you want to use for your yoke. So for this, I'm going to use 4.5 inches. So this is 4.5 inches for my yoke. Oh, it is a simple process. Since it is a round yoke, I'm just going to come, that is 4.5 inches. On the armhole side, I'm going to drop it down to about, that's 7 inches or 6 inches on my armhole area. So I'll just drop it. Let's use 6 inches. I'll drop it by 6 inches. And then here is 4.5. I just want to show you all of the measurements. And then I'll come to the center point also. I'm making use of 4 inches on this side. So why? The essence of doing this, I want to create out a curve. That is why I'm doing this. So this curve, you can actually create it however you want to create it, you understand? So this is a curve that I've created here now, like this. You can make it deeper, depends on what you want. So after creating out that curve, so this is going to serve as my yoke. So on this top point now, I'll measure my neckline, which is 3 inches wide. And then for the depth, it's not going to be 2. I'll use 2 inches or 2.5 inches. So it depends on how high you want the neckline to be. So that is the neckline. So you can see the yoke and the neckline is looking beautiful. So the next thing now, you're going to create a sweetheart neckline for the inner pattern. So for this, you can determine how deep you want it to be. You understand? So that was why I came up by 7 inches, to use it as a guide that I should not go below this 7 inches. You understand? I don't want to go below because I don't want it, the center, to be too wide. So for this, from this point, I'm just going to come down with about 3 inches. I'm going to use 3 inches. Why? Because after stitching, it's going to still reduce to about 2 inches. So I'm going to use 3 inches. So I'll mark it like this. I'm just trying to create another curve now. You understand? Trying to create another curve. So that curve, I will mark it into this armhole point like this. So you can decide to make use of your pattern curve. Depends on how it works for you. So at the end of the day, so you can see what I have. So I just fluted it into that point. You remember that 5 inches point that I marked initially. So what I'm going to do now, to cut it so that you will not get confused, I'm going to cut out the yoke first for you so you will see how it looks like. So we'll cut out the yoke. So this part now, this is the keyhole part. So this is the keyhole part. So let's cut out the yoke first, like this. So this is our yoke now. So you can see the curve of the yoke. So after doing this, in another way, you can just come and then create out your neckline, but it's easier for you to do it this way. And then the sweetheart neckline, I'm just going to go and cut it slightly like this. So after cutting, I'm going to open it up like this. And then, so for this part now, this dart, I'm going to tighten this part with the dart. So that's the essence of that. I'm going to tighten it. So the dart, my dart is going to run from the top to that 7 inches part into that chest part. So I'm going to tighten it. I'll take out, you can use 1 inch, but I'll do half of an inch. So it's going to stay like this, and then my yoke is going to stay on top like this. So you can see what I have. So when I'm cutting my yoke, I'm going to increase the length of my yoke. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have this. I'm not going to have a keyhole that is too open. So if you want it to be too open, I'm just trying to explain this so much. So if you want it to be open, you can decide to come down. Depends on what you want. Come down however you want to. But mine is okay like this. So the next thing, I'm going to transfer all of this on my fabric right now. So I'll open up the darts, and then I'll transfer on my fabric, and then I'll cut the lining also. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished cutting out all of my pieces. So this is the center front. So like I said, I will add my dart. I'm just going to run it to the end, and then I'll turn it with my lining. And then this is the back also with the lining. I'll turn, and then this is the yoke. So for the yoke, I'm going to turn the yoke. I'm not using lining, so I'll use the same fabric to turn out the yoke. So I'll go and stitch all of them, turn them, and then I'll come and show you how to join them together, and then we'll cut the down part. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished stitching. So this is the back. So I've joined it, and then I joined it on the allowance, the zip allowance part, and then this is the front. So you just stitch the neckline and then the down part, and then you turn. So the next thing now, I'm just going to take it, and then my darts, like I said, I've added the darts. So I made a top stitch on it. I wanted this fine defined dart, so that's why I did that. So you just place this like this here, and then depends on how open you want it to be. So the more you take it up, the more open it will be. But mine, I want it a little bit close. So I'm just going to place it like this here. And then from this part, I'll just do a top stitch. I'll top stitch it down. And then on this part also, I'll top stitch it down. So you see, I'm just going to have a very little opening, which is just modest for me. And then after that, I will join the back and the front together on the neckline part. That's on the shoulder, and then join the side with my allowance, my stitching allowance, and then I'll bring it back and I'll cut out the down, show you how to cut the down part. So we're almost done. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, so you can see what we have. So you see, it came out really fine. So the next thing is for us to cut the down part. So for the down part, I'm going to cut it like a slant A-line shape. So it's not a full flare. So I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay guys, so the next thing now we're going to cut out the down part. So you know that the down part of mine is actually 28, but here to here is 14, is 28 inches. Well, because of the pleats that I'm going to add to it, I'm going to add about 2 inches for those pleats. So instead of, normally if I was going to cut this, because I'm going to cut out 2, so you can see my fabric, I folded it at an angle just like I told you. So normally I'm supposed to cut, this is supposed to be 7 inches. That's if I was going to use this as one, it's supposed to be 7 inches, because then when you open it, it's going to be 14. Then you can add 1 inch for stitching allowance. But because of the pleats that I'm going to add to it, I'm going to add about 2 inches, that's about 8 inches to my 14 inches, because I'm cutting it 1, so I'm cutting 14 for just the waist. The full waist is 28 inches. So I'm cutting 14 for this first piece. So I'm going to add 8 inches to that 14. So I'm going to have about 20. I'm trying to do the math. 14, 15, 16, about 22 inches. So that's what I'm going to cut. So the fabric is folded into 2. So when you measure, you're going to have about 11 inches. So that's what I'm going to cut out now for one part of this. So the next thing, I'm going to measure the length. So for the length, I'm cutting out 25 inches. And then I'm going to add just 2 inches to it for stitching allowance. So I'm going to mark it here like this. And then I'll check my 11 inches. So you can see that I have my 11 inches right here now. So from this point, I'm going to measure and then just make sure that I have my full length. So I'm going to put in a lining, but I'm not going to turn it fully. So the lining is I'm just going to reduce the lining with about 2 inches. I will not turn it with the lining. I'm going to cut this out now. And then I'll use this one to cut out the back also. So I'll use this so you can see what we have. So I'll cut out another one. So when I'm done, I'll pleat out 2 inches from here like this. And then I'll pleat out another 2 inches from here like this. So this will give me that beautiful down part that we have. So I'll cut out the second one and then I'll show you. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished cutting, so you can see how it looks like. And then this is the top part of our gown. So what I'm going to do now, I'm around that area, I'm going to take you, remember we added an extra of 2 inches to it. So that 2 inches that I added, I'm going to take them out now. So I'll take 1 inch on this side. So I'm placing this so it will help us guide. I'll take 1 inch to this side. So it depends on how you want to do your pleats. I'll take 1 inch on this side. I'll pin it down and then take the other 1 inch and then I'll bring it close here. So you can see, I just bring it to this side and then I'll pin, and then I'll come to this other dart leg side. I'll take out 1 inch again also on this side. I'll just take the 1 inch, I'll fold it. So it depends on how you want your pleats to be. And then the other 1 inch I'll take to this side. So at the end of the day, I'm going to check what I have. If I have enough stitching allowance on the side, so you can see what I have. So I'm going to take this, I'll press it down to the end and then press this one down also. And then I'll do the same thing on this side, press them down nicely, and then I would stitch this. and then I'll go and stitch this on this so you can see how beautiful it is. So that was the essence of adding those extra inches to it, and then I'll stitch it. So I'll do the same thing that I did here for the front. I'll do the same thing to the back part of the dress. So after joining the back, also just the way I joined the front, I will join the side. That is, I will join the side together. So I'll go and do that, and then I'll bring it back and show you. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished turning. So I've turned it all out, so you can see. So this is the zip allowance. I left the zip allowance. So this is the front. So you can see the key split. So once I'm ironing, I'm just going to hold it down and then iron it down, and then you can see the front. So I've shaped my armhole already. So the only thing that is remaining now is just for me to add my sleeve. So for the sleeve, you can see it is just a puff, a regular round puff sleeve. So there is no point of me showing it in this video because I already have a video of it, so that the video will not be too long. So I'll just drop the link in the description box for those that don't know how to do that kind of sleeve. So guys, I've now come to the end of this tutorial. So I'll place it on the mannequin, and then you will see the final look, how it came out. So I'll just go ahead, the down part, I'll hem it. So like you see the lining, I'm going to trim it a little bit, and then I'll just hem the down part of this. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, you can see how our keyhole gown looks like. It actually came out really fine. So for the pleats, you know, I used 2 inches for each. If you want yours to be bigger, you can decide to increase it to about 3 inches or 4 inches, depends on what you want. But mine came out fine, and I like the outcome. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button, and the keyhole, if you want it to be more open, just follow the same instruction the way I told you, and then increase the hole. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next video. God bless you guys. Bye.